Welcome back to Lord Gizmo. Today, we're watching one man turn a steel shipping container into a fully livable home. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a container the same way again. Since this is a used container, the first order of business is a full inspection. Any damaged or rusted sections get repaired before anything else. If you're serious about building one yourself, make sure to visit his channel, PLA House Container. He's also put together an in-depth ebook that walks you through the whole process. Links are in the description below. Because you can't build a solid home on a compromised structure. Inside, shipping containers come with a steel deck base topped with thick hardwood flooring. Tough enough to handle heavy cargo, but nowhere near comfortable enough to live on. So Alex rips it all out and starts the floor from scratch. The new floor needs to check every box. Strong, insulated against heat, and quiet enough to actually live in. Before moving on, Alex runs expanding spray foam along all the edges, sealing out any drafts and bonding the wooden joists firmly against the container's steel base. It's a small step that makes a big difference in both insulation and structural rigidity. With the subfloor locked in, Alex brings in the heavy wooden panels that will form the final walking surface. The last layer between the structure below and the finished floor above. For this job, all you really need is a powerful drill and a good supply of screws. Alex works his way across the floor, driving screws through each wooden panel into the structure below. The result is a subfloor that won't creak, shift, or flex, locked down solid and ready for the final flooring on top. Next up, Alex builds the frames for the windows and doors. For this, he's working with a mobile welding plant, a power supply, and an angle grinder for the cuts. The core tools that make precise metalwork possible on site. He holds each frame up against the container wall and marks the outline directly on the steel. This becomes his cutting guide. And since container walls are typically only 1.6 to 2 millimeters thick, cutting through them is surprisingly quick work. With the openings cut, Alex now builds an aluminum frame along the interior walls to provide structural support. for the roof, he welds bolts directly onto the steel to anchor the aluminum framing above, keeping everything locked in place before the next phase begins. At this stage, he also drills holes through the steel for the plumbing pipes and electrical wiring. Much easier to do now before the walls are closed up. Once that's done, the doors and windows go in. Before you close up any wall with insulation or cladding, get every electrical conduit and socket box mounted and in position first. Once those panels go on, the walls are sealed. There's no going back without tearing everything apart. It's equally important to route the conduit cleanly. Any sharp bends or kinks can create a bottleneck, making it difficult or even impossible to pull the cables through later. He masks off the windows and doors to protect the glass, then sprays polyurethane foam across the entire ceiling and walls. This expanding foam fills every gap and seam, locking out heat, cold, and noise all at once. Next, his girlfriend steps in to help, trimming and clearing away any excess foam that's pushed out of place, keeping the surfaces clean and ready for the next step. Over the spray foam, Alex adds a layer of foil-faced foam board insulation. This does two jobs at once. It protects the spray foam behind it, and the reflective aluminum facing bounces heat away, cutting down the overall heat transfer into the living space. With the insulation done, Alex starts installing drywall sheets over the walls and ceiling. This is where the interior really starts to transform. It's beginning to look less like a container and more like an actual room. Drywall is a solid choice here. It's durable, easy to cut and fit, and takes paint well, giving Alex full control over the final look of the interior. But the drywall alone isn't enough. Alex goes over every joint and seam, filling and sanding until the entire surface is smooth and uniform. No gaps, no ridges, just a clean finish ready for paint. To create sharp, durable edges around the window frames, Alex presses a corner bead directly into a base layer of wet joint compound, effectively gluing it perfectly into place. He then paints the ceiling and walls white, a simple choice that immediately opens up the space, making it feel clean, bright, and surprisingly luxurious for a steel box. Back inside, attention turns to the floor. Alex first lays down a black plastic sheet across the entire surface. This acts as a moisture barrier, keeping dampness from creeping up from below. Over that, he pours a layer of concrete mixed with insulating cement, giving the floor both thermal protection and a solid damp-proof base to build on. One missed spot in a bathroom can cause serious damage down the line. While Alex puts the finishing touches on his bathroom, let's take a step back and talk about container homes. Turning a shipping container into a home is a genuinely fascinating idea, and it can absolutely be cost-effective. But that last part is the key. Only if you really know what you're doing. Get it wrong, and those savings disappear fast. According to Alex, he cut his building costs roughly in half compared to conventional construction. That's a 50% saving just by starting with a used container. Moving to the bathroom, Alex spreads heavy-duty adhesive across the floor and carefully sets the shower pan into position, a clean white base that starts the bathroom off on the right foot. Once it's set, he installs the rubber drain gasket, creating a perfectly watertight seal for the new walk-in shower. Looking up, Alex installs a massive, flush-mounted rainfall shower head. He applies a strong construction adhesive to secure the unit into the ceiling recess, bringing a touch of modern luxury to the container bathroom. For the bathroom, Alex goes with ceramic tiles, the right call for any wet area. Properly installed, they create a fully waterproof surface that stands up to daily moisture. The wall tiles in particular add a nice touch, giving the bathroom its own distinct look inside what is essentially a steel box. In the bathroom, Alex fits a glass shower screen, a small detail that keeps the space feeling open rather than cramped. Next, Alex wants to build a deck right outside the side door, a spot where he can step outside and unwind in the morning. To make that happen, the original shipping container doors come off, and in their place, Alex builds a foldable frame that will serve as the foundation for the deck. Don't miss the next build. Subscribe to Lord Gizmo and stay in the loop. and let us know in the comments. Do you think container homes are a smart, affordable choice, or just too much work to be practical? We'd love to hear your take. Once the reddish hardwood decking boards are laid down, the result speaks for itself. It's a clean, warm finish that adds real character to the outside of the build. Stepping outside, the frame beside the foldable deck is still open. It needs a wall to close it in. Alex starts by painting a large backing board a solid black, creating a dark base that will make the lighter wood stand out. Alex builds a decorative wooden screen. Using a combination of wood glue and brad nails, he meticulously attaches dozens of parallel strips to create a stunning visual feature. Next, he secures the natural wood strips onto the painted board, completing the decorative slatted panel. He brings the finished panel over to mount it, but quickly hits a snag. The heavy metal hinges from the container's folding deck system are blocking the fit. Taking a step back, he grabs his saw and carefully cuts a notch directly out of the panel to accommodate the hardware. With the precise cut made, he lifts the panel back up, and this time, it slides perfectly into position around the hinge. Finally, he drills the panel firmly into the framework, beautifully blending the warm wood facade with the heavy-duty mechanics of the container. Alex uses wooden boards painted in a warm goat brown, and that rich, earthy tone ties the whole exterior together beautifully. And he doesn't stop at the front. The back gets the same treatment, keeping the exterior consistent all the way around. The central door needs a proper step, so Alex is framing one out of wood planks. To keep the wood off the damp ground and give it a solid foundation, he sets 4 precast concrete blocks into the earth. These act as the main supports, raising the structure just enough to prevent rot. Once the base is level, he installs the main platform and closes off the sides down to the ground for a finished look. To get it ready for paint, Alex sands down the planks until the grain is smooth. A final coat of wood stain or exterior paint finishes it off, protecting the wood and tying the entrance together. Now Alex turns his attention to the flooring in the main room. He's going with parquet panels, and this isn't a job you can rush. Every piece needs to be precisely cut and carefully fitted for that seamless, professional finish. And Alex and his girlfriend take their time on every corner and edge, making sure each joint is fully sealed and watertight. Laying the main floor is straightforward, but everything slows down once Alex reaches the doorways. This area demands extreme precision. He has to painstakingly measure, notch, and trim each wooden plank to perfectly contour around the heavy door frames and metal hinges. Along the base of every wall, where the floor meets the wall, Alex installs waterproof skirting, hiding the expansion gap and protecting the wall from scuffs and moisture. Whether made from wood, MDF, or vinyl, skirting is one of those finishing details that pulls the entire interior together and gives it that clean, polished look. To achieve a perfectly flat finish, he slides leveling clips under the edges of the tiles. By locking them in with wedges, he ensures these wood-look ceramic pieces sit at the exact same height, preventing any uneven edges as the floor sets. Not everything on this build is brand new. Alex repurposes where he can. Like this old rusty box, which gets cleaned up and converted into a functional outdoor electrical box. Now it's time to give the exterior the same attention as the interior. Alex starts by building a frame along the outside walls to support the cladding. He then applies a layer of self-adhesive elastomeric foam insulation directly onto the steel. This creates a thermal and moisture barrier between the container and the outer wall. Finally, the plywood panels go over the frame. Combined with the warm goat brown timber sections alongside them, the exterior comes together beautifully. A rich, textured finish that honestly looks more like a luxury cabin than something that started life as a shipping container. And this stage demands patience and precision. There's a lot of plywood to cut, and every single piece has to be measured accurately and fitted tight. One sloppy cut, and the whole exterior finish suffers. Alex works his way around all four sides. No shortcuts, no unfinished walls. Every exterior surface gets the same level of care and attention. Moving on to climate control for the container, Alex prepares the exterior cladding to route the AC duct pipe. He has carefully traced the exact oval profile of the ductwork onto the wooden plank and is driving a pilot hole through the material. Back inside the finished living area, Alex connects the flexible exhaust hose to the portable AEC unit. This simple but effective setup allows him to vent hot air through the custom opening he cut earlier, finally bringing a comfortable temperature to the completed container home. With the walls up, Alex isn't ready for paint just yet. Every screw hole, every seam, every gap where the container wall meets the framing gets packed with wall putty. A thick, paste-like compound that bonds tight and fills flush. Working methodically with a wide putty knife, he presses it into every imperfection and smooths it level with the surrounding surface. Once it dries and gets a light sand, those gaps simply cease to exist. Only then does the paint go on. And when it does, the walls don't just look finished, they look intentional. Alex moves on to the electrical finishing work, fitting the light fixtures and sockets throughout the space. The container roof can't just stay as bare steel. These boxes are essentially heat sinks, and without a proper upgrade, the inside will bake the moment the sun hits it. Alex needs to install a secondary roof, one that fits the industrial look of the build, but acts as a functional shield. The idea is to create a gap to block that heat transfer and add enough of a pitch so water can't pool and start the rusting process. It has to look right, but its real job is keeping the home cool and dry. He starts by welding rectangular steel tubes into a solid frame, then props one side up on legs to create a natural slope for water runoff. Once positioned on top of the container, he welds the frame directly to the roof, locking it in place permanently. Before anything else goes on the primary roof, Alex cleans the surface thoroughly and sprays it with insulation foam, creating a heat-resistant barrier that protects the living space below from the sun beating down on bare steel. With the primary roof sealed, plywood panels go over the steel frame above, forming the deck of the secondary roof. A weather-resistant sheet is then laid over the plywood and fastened down tight, keeping moisture out at every seam. Alex isn't quite satisfied yet. Something is missing. He adds artificial grass patches around the decking area and extends them across the entire facade of the home. That touch of green against the white and warm brown exterior is exactly what the build needed. To close off the gap between the bottom of the container and the ground, Alex installs a slatted wood grill panel along the lower perimeter. If you enjoy builds like this, hit that subscribe button. We find the most incredible construction projects on the planet, so you don't have to. square timber battens go down next, adding the framework needed to support the final layer, the roof panels. As each panel locks into place, the container below it stops looking like a repurposed freight box and starts looking exactly like what it is, a complete, finished home. If you enjoyed this video, do us a quick favor. Hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who'd love to see this build. We'll see you in the next one.